but how are you?
I'm great. You know, we are under this big lockdown, 5 months in. Can you believe it?
Yes.
And you know, we never thought the month when we celebrated that it's going to be celebrated indoors, enclosed, as well as what do you call it, under lockdown, so to speak.
Right.
But we're happy to have you and to celebrate you, Brenda, because for many years, I won't count, it might just reveal, you know, where are you now? You've disappeared. It might reveal the length of time you've been alive, which really doesn't matter. But the idea is, you know, Standard Bank Joy of Jazz every year celebrates, you know, women who have contributed to the heart, which is the heart of the heart. And you are certainly one of those as well. Do you find that this period under lockdown has changed things for you? Maybe even just the way you do your work?
Well, I think it has changed a lot for all of us. I think just immediately as it happened, we all started considering our own mortality. You know, that must have rung home for a lot of people. But for me, it really did. It made me ask myself, you know, where am I in terms of that journey? You know, we always talk and laugh about it with friends and people of our age to say, you know, we are in the sunset years of our lives, which means, you know, we're heading that direction. But it's always just talk, you know, and suddenly you've got this the situation that is at hand, and you're asking yourself, oh my, did I live enough? Did I do enough? Did I enjoy myself enough? You know, am I enough in any sense to myself? You know, so it has done that. It has not done that.
Have you spent a lot of time alone, or you know, during this time, or have you had people around you? Because it does make a difference in terms of just how you're experiencing this period.
Mostly alone, and mostly where it was allowed, when it was allowed eventually, family. But mostly alone, to be honest with you. And I haven't found it uncomfortable at all. I found that I had time to get inside. I enjoyed it. Selfishly.
I've found, you know, because you do a jazz show on Kaya FM, The Art of Sunday, which is incredible. And
thank you.
I've found that this time has also allowed me to do a lot of things I haven't been able to do. For instance, I focus more musically on music that I want to play on my show on Sunday. I don't get the time to then listen to other stuff that I just listen to just for enjoyment and pleasure. Every time I'm listening to something, I'm listening it with the idea that I wanted to play it on the show. But have you found yourself listening for pleasure and not necessarily having, you know, the work in your mind?
Oh yes, I did. I listened a lot for pleasure, but also I listened quietly. You know, I had the privilege in the early weeks of the first lockdown announcement. I was invited by a jazz appreciation group, and they were playing online to one another, you know, and they were, and I in fact I got to listen for pleasure, but I also got to listen for, oh my word, I'm living in this world and I know so little about it, you know. So
isn't that incredible? That how much
amazing.
we don't know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I love the learning part. Actually, when you're discovering new things, are you discovering it from your listeners? Are you discovering it from just your own inquiry and search? Are you discovering it from other people? Where are you discovering new sounds and new things in the arts?
Oh, amazing.
Is it your own search, or is it other people talking about things and you're like, oh, I don't know that person, or oh, I don't know that?
I've always thought artists are so generous, but I think during COVID-19, I realized just how generous they are. There was so much reach out for people giving free product, new material they're thinking about, they messing around with in the studio, because this lockdown has let them do that way. I found that people have been freely trying to say, here's what I'm struggling with. What do you think? And I've learned even in look at myself when I look at how people have given. I'm sorry, I lost you there. Are we still?
No, my niece is trying to call me, and she knows I'm live. I mean, really.
So I've learned from many sources, Notemba, and I think the pool has increased incredibly. I've amassed even more friends from outside our borders. I've realized just how this music, can connect you with the world.
Have you? Who have women more specifically? Even though you and I in an industry that's male dominated. In terms of broadcasting and the genre of jazz music. But I love the fact that there's so many more women now getting into on air as broadcasters for this particular genre. And I love the fact that there's a lot of musicians who are also getting into broadcasting. And I love the conversations actually between musicians as well.
Absolutely.
Because they've got different approaches in how they talk to each other from also a position of knowledge of some sort, the things that
Right.
I as a non-musician wouldn't know. But which women in your life have influenced you up to this point in your career and just in your life that you'd really like to also just salute and thank them, who have been behind you, who have supported you, who have urged you on?
Thank you, Notemba. I think, we're coming, that's the crux of the matter, I suppose. In fact, this morning when I woke up, I looked at the weather and I was very reluctant to get up. It was cold, And then it hit me to say, this is the reason you and I are going to be talking this afternoon is because of the date that, we're in. And I was thinking there were some women that were actually planning and were meeting probably the weather was like this. It was dusty, it was cold, and they were planning to do something about the circumstance or the situation around them. And I thought of them in that regard to say, and I'm enjoying the comforts of saying, I'm going to wake up closer to this interview, because of them. So definitely salute to them, for starters. And then I've got to salute women that have mentored me, and women that have mentored me have been women that have been friends but older than me, who've embraced me and made friends with me, and I didn't feel the age gap. And through their life experiences, I was able to see and learn. And by the time I came to that point of view, I was more involved because they were not shy to share themselves of themselves, Notemba. And I must say that I also met women when I didn't walk in as a broadcaster for starters. You remember, Notemba, I was working in the marketing space elsewhere. And when I bumped into you, I was then automatically bumping into Shadow Twala. And you as women and as friends also made a lot of impact in my life in terms of how you viewed yourself in your profession. And then there were women that I was interfacing with as my clients. Some of them were ministers in government, and they would sit down. I remember I had a very complicated project, and this lady used to invite me to her house all the time, and she'd say, "We have to look at your report and come and sit down, baby. I'm going to make some lunch." So I would be reined in, I would be managed, I would be taught, but I would also be embraced, in a sense. So those kind of women professionally have nurtured me. Younger women, Notemba, younger women that you work with, that sometimes you call in because you need some assistance work-wise, but they walk in with a different energy altogether. And you have to look at yourself and understand that in there lies some lessons. So you better sit up and listen when they share the fight that they've evoked in me all over again. So yeah, very vast arrays of women, I must say.
I can imagine. Let's talk about this problem that we started with, this technology.
Yeah.
How the fact that here we are talking now, we're not talking on radio, we're not talking on television. It's a new platform that everyone is now embracing: Instagram, Twitter Live, Facebook Live, and how you are navigating yourself in there. Are you winning? Are you like, this is nothing? I'm always calling my son. I'm calling everybody. This even now to log on now. I mean, you and I were earlier. We like half an hour ago. It's like, okay, let's just test it and check it. I thought I thought I'd use my laptop, and then the laptop said no. I'm at a risk of being blocked. I'm like, okay, back to the phone.
Back to the phone.
So,
I see.
how are you navigating the technology world, the new technology and how even your work has now embraced it and included it in the way you do your work?
I'm embracing it because I'm learning a lot. It's a new environment, and there's nothing exciting as learning something new and how to operate your or something that you know within a new perspective. So I'm enjoying learning about that. I've never liked living in a fishbowl, as in. I've always tried to hide away and just reveal little bits about myself. So I've been out of my comfort zone a little because I've had to step out. I've had to be in my home and show things, as you said, I'm showing you things about my home, that I didn't, but also share a little bit about my life, post more than I would normally do because it is that the time demands of that. But it also, made me realize that I shouldn't be a lot worried about it because I need to always select what I put out there and still keep some things to myself. The beauty I've learned is that, there's so many opportunities, there's so many careers, there's so many, I'm even thinking the education system needs to quickly
Everybody needs to catch up and log on, so to speak.
I feel for the artists, and while I admire them for having stepped out to put their work where there is no contact with their client or their customer, or people who appreciate what they do. But I appreciate the fact that they've tried to find a way of still expressing their art. I think it's much admirable, but I still think we can't let technology decide that we can't be together. We've got to find a way in which technology meets humanity at some point. So I'm always saying we need to push ourselves while technology is pushing us. But I have learned a lot.
Okay, so it is now the 8th of August. We are almost now looking towards the end of the year. And that, in other words, looking to the future and so forth. Question is, for you, how does the future look like for the work you do, the people you work with, and just the industry that you are in? Now that we've all sort of had it's like we had a big accident and we're just crawling out of the wreckage and are thinking, hey, what now?
Yeah, the year has come to an end. We've scrapped an academic year in many ways, I hope. But we've also learned that, we've been a lot more selfish looking inwards. We are part of society of community.
Yeah, you're frozen there, I think, a little bit. I think your network is, Brenda, you're frozen there. Hello, Poncho, I see you. Diniko, I see you. Shonipo, I see you. While Brenda her network is getting back on. I see you, Shota Z. Okay, Brenda, we've lost Brenda. Oh my goodness, her network, I think, is this network that we are busy talking about. Hello, Pimelo, I see you. Sage, Jazz joined. Lovely to have you here. We're actually at the end of our conversation. I don't know if Brenda is able to join again, so we can just wrap up the conversation. Kitumete, I see you. Tepo, I see you. Mokhatle. Thank you so much, all of you. Her own skin. Love your tweets always. Judith is here. I hope Brenda can join us back in. And I think she got cut off. This very technology that we, Jane, Clary, I see you. Tamik and Julie waving back at you. It is this very technology. How are we going to do this in the future if our networks are so poor? Is the question. But I don't think we're going to have time to get Brenda back on. If she can, we've lost her. Thank you, Ngala Style, saying it was really great to see both of you chatting. Appreciate you. Thank you. Lindy Wemakolo, lovely. Manda says, must wait for her. She says it's a beautiful conversation. Thank you, Miss Mantra. Brenda, to see if you can get back on. This was supposed to be 15 minutes when I'm Andra, but we've gone on and on because the conversation is great. Shorty Z, hey, I see you there. There are more conversations, definitely, Shorty Z. So every Saturday at 3 o'clock, oh, Brenda is back. I'm going to be talking to women in the arts. Let me see. I'm going back live with Brenda, even though my camera is showing me other things. It's supposed to show me. Hey, my God. Yeah, Nazo. Okay. The network went berserk. The very technology we were talking about, which obviously means that, you know, our networks got to up their game if this is huge. If this is the future of life. Performances online, everybody's spoiled for choice. And it's also a period where nobody's working. People have lost gigs, have lost jobs, have lost a way of getting an income, and everybody is trying very hard to think of new ways of making money. I don't know, what conversations have you had with some people in the industry on options? For instance, you were with your team preparing for the International Jazz Day on the 30th of April. And that was the big thing that everyone was hoping for. First time hosted, you know, in South Africa, in Cape Town. And that one went down the drain. And that means a lot of people lost out on getting gigs and getting to participate and be part of that. And how did that affect you?
Firstly, it affected us.
Is it coming back?
The coming back really is a question that we have to answer ourselves as a sector, as a country, that we do want it back, and I think we can. We sit in a very comfortable position to be able to do that. I think what it told us is that you can't predict life, really. You know, never be too attached to the outcome. You know, what we learned. I mean, the plans are there. They can be executed at any other time, because we were literally just about to announce the lineup a few days, you know, before, when we were told you can't. So, but we also learned how important it is to see ourselves the way we are, because the world wants to see us that way. You know, that we have a very exciting industry that the world wants to learn about, that we should be equally excited about it. There are great possibilities for South Africa. And I think, if looking from that period on, September, you and I had previously just visited a jazz congress, and where people were talking about this industry, and we were relating to all the conversations they were having, you know. So what it has done, it has revealed the great opportunities, how our artists can be of equal, can enjoy the world stages.
But isn't that incredible how only when you're out there do you realize that everybody wants in on who we are?
Exactly, Natemba.
The way they want to know what we have to offer, because they have realized that it is unique, it is different, it is exciting, it is colorful, it's full of texture, it's all these things that they are hungry for, and which is what me and you sort of do with our work, is to share to the rest of the world what we are as South Africans, especially with the jazz art genre and the people behind it, which I'm very excited and very happy to share. I'm always like, go get our playlist, get our world, and learn about South African artists, and they are mastering the world out there.
I think you know, you've said it all, Notemba. It's about to because you know, essentially, if we look at that, that we culturally so attractive, then the opportunities are incredible. I mean, if we can define what our trade spaces are, our cultural exchange spaces are, that we have so much to offer. This is still just a, on a cultural level. It's not even just on people coming to interface, to eat our food, to see our fashion. It's just on a genre called jazz, which is the smallest pie of all of them. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think if we can look with a bigger eye, there's great opportunity for job creation, for sustainability, and for just profiling our creativity.
Yeah. Just lastly, as far as we've got a lot of institutions, a lot of platforms, a lot of people who are supporting what we're trying to promote and share with the rest of the world, jazz music. But still, there is a very important part of our society that is refusing to acknowledge and accept that this thing called jazz is life. And without it, sizolamba, without it.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Just in closing, what do you think more can be done for jazz to stop being referred to as a unique cliche? What's the word they normally use? Niche.
And niche, yeah.
Niche, and all these funny words they try and use to keep it there in the dark, in the lapagote, thing.
Because
bring it
it's
into...
It's our work, Notemba. If you remember what your mother used to whisper to you about your people, your family, your clan, telling you this is how we do things as family. Women carry the messages of the next generation, and they share it with the next generation. It's our work as communicators in our society to continue to do this. And it's no coincidence that people talk about...
Aaron Rambui. Hi!
Hello, Aaron. It's no coincidence.
From Kenya. We love him.
Hello, Rims.
Yeah, sorry, so I cut you there.
No, it's fine. I was just saying that it's our work as women to stand up and be able to take command of these spaces, because even if we were to talk about what is the next steps in a bigger scale in terms of where the country is going, at no point is it going to be saying that the arts need to be central to that conversation. And it's our work as women to really come out and have to say that. Hence, I appreciate you, I appreciate Manto, I appreciate all the women that are in this space doing what they're doing. And that is without negating the work of our male counterparts, but basically saying that we understand why we're fighting for this, Notemba, why we're fighting for identity, because we have stories that we need to tell about who we are.
And you're so right. As women, we give birth. We nurture, we hold everyone, warm and comfortable, and we show the rest of the world, what we gave birth to, and share and let it grow, and pour the water, the seeds, the mature, and see them grow up, and they fly, my baby, fly. But come back to mama when things are tough. Brenda, it has been a pleasure, as always, chatting to you. Thank you so much. And wishing you the rest of Women's Month, one that is very celebratory, and hoping that all the women around us, some we know, some we don't know, also just acknowledge the fact that yes, they play a very important role in our society. And never mind that they might deny it, but men know it. Without us, what's there?
Thank you very much, Notemba. Thank you for Joe of Jazz for having these conversations and for having me in this context. I'm going to move out of shot for a second because you gave me homework as you say the goodbye. So let me just fix that matter for a second.
Their homework for here on Insta Live on Standard Bank Joy of Jazz is that as we say goodbye, she's going to play to us what she's been listening to. So do you want to tell us?
Well, I wanted to salute a young man who I didn't think he had enough time, because of the COVID-19 to enjoy being South African Young Artist of the Year for Jazz, Sisonke Conti. I think he's a great, amazing musician, and I just thought just a moment for him again. And I'm going to play out with a track from his debut album.
Wow, what a lovely choice. Oh, wow.
Man. Let's continue
What a beautiful.
celebrating this music, Natemba, and please let's keep going. Thanks to you and all the others.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Have yourself a beautiful Saturday. As somebody said, it's the art of Saturday today.
All the best.
And thank you all of you for joining us today. Remember, every Saturday in the month of August. So next week, Saturday, we have another surprise guest for you that I'll be chatting to. Thank you to Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. And do follow Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Instagram and all the other hashtags, and support women in the month of August. Thank you. Bye, Brenda.
Goodbye. Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella.